Hello, welcome back to the channel of Motorbike Nonsense and my first ride on the 2025 Triumph Trident, which has been a little bit updated, I suppose, for this year. I last rode this on the launch in Tenerife back in 2020, the end of 2020 I think, so it's coming up to 5 years old now, and it's been a big hit for Triumph, giving anyone that wants a proper Triumph triple, and affordable options. This is about £7,800 now, which is about 600 quid more than it was 5 years ago, but it's got more stuff on it now as a result of this update. So you've got new colour schemes. This red and black for the white stripes is 100 quid extra. You've got an updated Showa separate function big piston fork. Still got proper Michelin Road 5 tyres. I think they're Road 5s. Yes, Road 5s, same 660cc engine, we'll get on to that. And then it's just electronics updates, really. So you get cruise control as standard, you get an extra riding mode called Sport, but importantly, for peace of mind, you get a 6-axis IMU. So the traction control and ABS are now lean sensitive, and if you are eagle-eyed, it's got an up and down quickshifter as standard now, which is brilliant. So a lot of bike for £7,900. I've been a little bit mean about this engine in the past. Let's see if it's actually any fun. Now, apologies if the audio is a bit weird in this video. First time wearing a new helmet, and obviously getting a helmet microphone sorted out takes a couple of weeks of faffing about. Why did that stall? Why is it stalling? Interesting. That doesn't fill me with much confidence. Why did it stall? I was starting it first with the clutch and the side stand up. That's how I normally start bikes. It should have been fine. Interesting. Now, I have just ridden about 10 miles from my house on this bike, so it is warmed up, but let's see what it's like. It's very peppy. It is a lot peppier than I remember it, to be honest. I've said some mean-ish things about this engine, calling it my first triple, because that's sort of where it sits in Triumph's range. But now I'm riding it in Britain on kind of British roads. It feels like it's got ample power, and we'll get on some nationals in a minute and wring its neck a bit. But I loved this when it first came out in terms of its package. Here is an affordable triple-powered Triumph that really could get you hooked on the brand's engines. It kind of felt a bit like it was channeling essence of street triple, but without any of the top end rush that you might not want if it's your first big bike. Yes, I like it already. Obviously some bits of this built down to a price, we'll get onto that in a bit. You might argue that this dashboard is now on some versions of Triumph's bikes that cost 12 or 13 grand, so yeah, it was first shown on the Trident though. What other bits and pieces shall I very quickly talk about? Quickshifter blipper, it's good. In town, you can go down to first and up into second reasonably smoothly without the clutch. I love that that is standard. That's not standard on bikes costing a lot more than this, including, does the MT10 get it as standard? I can't remember. They've just updated the MT10, I'm up to date with it. I'll stick that in the text there. So this is a rival for things like the Honda CBF 650, the MT07, all that sort of entry-level middleweight stuff. It's sort of in a class of its own, really. If you want a triple, only this will do. That cruise control, yeah, it works at 30 miles an hour, so you can trundle through 30 limits without getting done by someone hiding in your nan's bush with a little weapon. So yeah, it's very easy. It's very easy. The clutch is nice and light, the gearbox is nice and smooth. And I have to say, I did hoon it here a little bit, and the brakes are blooming impressive. They are, on paper, average. They're Nissan sliding 2-piston calipers, but I belted it down a dual carriageway at the speed limit and then broke hard for a roundabout. Now, darn near endoed the thing. It stopped so hard I was surprised. But yes, the engine remains the same, still 660cc triple, 81 horsepower at 10,250 RPM I think it is, and 64 newton meters of torque at about 6,000 RPM, but that means you get from 30 to 50 like that in third gear. It's got just shove absolutely everywhere. And I was looking back through my notes, because I'm a good boy, from the press conference in 2020, and they said that about 90% of the torque is available from 3000 RPM all the way up to 9000 RPM, which you do feel on the road. Any gear, it accelerates really nicely. You don't have to be worrying about knocking it down to get it into a sweet spot for overtaking cars. It is just there for you. Now, one thing I said on the launch of this bike, and I will reiterate it now, is that physically it's a very approachable bike. So 805mm seat height, which means if you're lanky like me at 6'3", it does feel a little bit on the small toyish side. I don't think I'd be very comfortable on this doing long motorway schleps, just because my knees would be ripped out sideways in the wind, which is not an ideal feeling, is it? But they do make the Tiger Sport 660, which is a little bit bigger. I've actually got that coming next week. Alright, let's talk performance. Second gear, full throttle. That's the rev limiter just past 60 miles an hour, Your Honour. So it's not slow. The only thing I would say is if you then go on to ride one of Triumph's racier 765 triples, they rev a bit higher, and you find yourself batting into the rev limiter on this when you come back down to it. But you soon get used to it, and it's just a really lovely engine. Now, I was quite surprised the other day when I put up that first ride of the BMW F900R, which is actually about a grand more than this, basic. Obviously, that's the next capacity up. That's 900cc. This is 660. But quite a few people in the comments were comparing the Trident with the F900. And actually, this feels more exciting. Oh, not as exciting as that. Yeah, this does feel just zestier. It's perhaps not got the mid-range of the F900, but it just feels a bit zingier, and it feels a hell of a lot lighter. This is about 190 kilograms ready to go, so 30 kilos pretty much lighter than that BMW F900. So yes, it's about 20 horsepower down, but I know handling wise it eclipses it in terms of agility. If you didn't have tinted front windows, you would be able to see me, you badland. But yeah, it's got real agility when you push the bars. It's really surprising how quickly you can change your line with very little effort. And it's on proper tyres, as I said, so you've always got some confidence in them, and they warm up nice and quick as well. It's good that Triumph hasn't just thrown any old shit on its affordable entry-level naked bike. Down blipper good as well. It's a lovely little package, this. I mean, there are some cheap details. I'm sure I'll cover these in my full review in a few weeks. Things like the brake pedal. It looks a bit better than it used to, actually. I think they've changed that. The brake pedal used to look like a stamped sheet of MG42 parts. But now it actually looks a bit nicer. But yeah, you just roll through corners in town in third gear. Lovely job. And it's still got some proper big bike feeling when you get on the noise tube. Riding position is a lot more kind of upright than on a street triple. Not a lot more upright, but noticeably more upright. You've got less fisting going on. You've got less weight on your palms. It's not like you're trying to, you know, pin down someone with a barbell, which can be the case on certainly street triple RS is a bit more like that. This, you can actually take the weight completely off your hands and squeeze the tank with your thighs, which is good if you're going to do long distances without getting backache. Seat, yeah, it's smooth, it's a bit shiny for my liking, a little bit slippery on the brakes, certainly wearing jeans like I am today, but you know, I'm a big oaf on it. I wish it had a bit more fore and after room before the pillion seat sloped up, but it's a small bike, there's only so much they could probably do with that. But yeah, it feels so sporty, the handling, it's nice. Now, because I never actually rode the old Trident in the UK, I only rode it in Tenerife. The roads there were smooth, so I don't remember thinking the suspension was crashy. They've upgraded the front fork, apparently to give a plusher ride. I'm feeling pretty fine, pretty confident on this. I've been over some bumpy roads, and yeah, you get a bit of a jolt through your bum. The rear shock is unchanged, but you know, the front end feels really good, really nailed on. I like it a lot. It is just really, I don't know, it's really fun. It eggs you on. And if you're choosing this as your first big bike, what a machine to have. Like, even if it's not your first big bike and you just want an affordable Sunday bike, I genuinely don't know what's not to like. The front brakes are so good. They're better than the radial calipers on my old MT10. Look at that. That made me feel a bit sick. Triumph, you bloody done it again. I wish you would make a shit bike. And it's just nice knowing that everything's lean sensitive now. You know, you don't want to rely on traction control or ABS, but it's just worth having in your back pocket for the moment, that once in a ownership time that you need it. It is worth having. What a little thing. What a thing. Little, sorry, that's patronising, but it is physically little compared to me. But then, I don't know, so is Ian Beale. And one thing we can't overlook as I go across the crappiest bit of road in all of Christendom, bottom the forks out there, don't think any bike would have dealt with that, is the noise. This sounds really good. You're getting a bit of induction bark, not loads, a little bit of exhaust noise, but you're just getting that singing 3-cylinder engine with its trademark Triumph whistle, which I've always liked. I gather some people don't, some people are infidels, but it's just got such an addictive spread of power as you wind it on, even in 4th gear, which I shouldn't be doing because I'm already doing a speed limit, but if I slow down a bit, 3rd gear, that's 10 miles an hour in a millisecond. It's just going, it's always just going. Oh, I don't miss big horsepower bikes. Maybe I should try and get through the rest of the year not riding anything over 120 horsepower. That means I can ride the new Ducati V2s. If they ever reply to my emails. Anyway, that was bitchy. It's partly my fault. Right, going to do a bit more riding and get some more thoughts together. My new lid, in case you're wondering, isn't it lovely, is the new Shark Aeron. So they do the Aeron GP, which has got a big wang on the back of it, the big whatchamacallit, kind of spoiler thing. That's a track helmet. This is the same as that, but without the track spoilery bit on the back. So it's a road lid, but I have to say, this is literally my first ride with it, and compared to my old Shui NXR that I was running for 3 or 4 years, this feels like I'm watching the world go by on an IMAX screen. Vertically, I'm getting way more field of view out of this. It's wicked. Bare carbon fibre. For some reason this colourway is called Carbon Dad, which is definitely me. And it's got a little black mohawk stripe down the middle of it as well, which is quite hard to see. But yes, this is my new road lid for the year. Well, a couple of years probably. Oh dear. I stopped just to check my cameras. Listen. Okay, it's fired up that time, but it did just stall out again. I wonder if it's got a hot starting problem. So as we trundle through these lovely villages, oh, it's got an old Defender. Let's talk about rivals, because if you're looking at this, just under 8 grand, about, you know, 80 horsepower, you're probably looking at the Honda CB750 Hornet. Really lovely bike, another great engine. Bit more performance than this, I think from memory. It's about 90 horsepower and it's just a bit gutsier, and also sounds very good for a parallel twin. Then you've got the Suzuki GSX-8S, again it's about the same power as this, I think, 80ish horsepower, not ridden that, so can't really compare. And then obviously the MT-07. I know the CP2 engine really well now. It's an absolute hoot. Possibly feels a bit naughtier than this, in a way that Yamahas tend to feel a bit naughtier than Triumphs. In that case, it's because it's got so much low down shaft that you will be trying to find crests and do slightly illegal things on it. Whereas this is just, I don't know, it's fast, but it's a bit more planted on the road. It's a bit more grown up, but that's not to say it's not agile and fun. Anyway, I am waffling quite a lot about this. I really impressed by how this feels. So yeah, stay tuned, because I'll have my full review up in a couple of weeks, and then I'll have the Tiger Sport 660 coming as well. So basically same bike but taller, and I really like that bike when I rode it a couple of years ago. Obviously it's got an 800cc brother now, so we'll see how it compares. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Tell me what you think of my helmet, I'll tell you what I think of yours. No, don't send me penis pictures, and I will see you next time. Thank you, goodbye, enjoy the weather, go and ride motorbikes.